Hello, good evening. You're watching ITV News Central. Relatives of children killed in the massacre at a school in Pakistan have described those responsible as un-Islamic and ruthless. More than 130 pupils were killed when gunmen targeted the army-run school. People in the West Midlands are still struggling to come to terms with what happened. Rajiv Popat reports.
Nazir Awan says the last 48 hours have been unbearable. He was shocked to learn that two of his cousin's sons were killed in the attack on a school in the Pakistani city of Peshawar. 15-year-old Mohammed Yassin and 10-year-old Mohammed Gulshir were among the 132 children who were gunned down.
When I heard the news, I couldn't stop crying for 2 hours. I didn't really know at that time that these people had also died. But just looking at the news of Peshawar, that particular school, because where we come from not far away from there. And looking at the scenes of devastation, it was absolutely terrible.
Tomorrow a vigil to remember those who died takes place outside Leicester Town Hall. It's organised by the Pakistan Youth and Community Association. They've described the militants who killed 141 people as un-Islamic.
You can't even say they're Muslims, they are not human beings as well. They are just terrorists, they are not believing who they are kids, they are women, they are men, women, Muslims, Christians, Hindu, whatever. They are just believing that they have everything going to be dead and that's it.
Muhammad Ali from Birmingham's Central Mosque told me his second cousin Uzair Ahmed was one of the victims of the terrorist attack. There was a special event at the school which he'd been looking forward to.
He was really friendly, energetic and lively child, and he was in his young age of 14 and he really enjoyed studying in that place.
And the day it happened was a big day for him, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a big day because he was having a party for year 10 kids there and they were really enjoying the party at that time.
At the time, some of the youngsters were taking exams. Mohammed Yassin was in his classroom.
He tried to make a run for it also, and then he was shot in the legs. Before that, he was shot in his chest. These are young kids. They must be having nightmares, and especially because a lot of these kids were their friends. And to see so much blood and so much violence and devastation at that young age, it must be absolutely terrible for them.
The Pakistani Taliban claimed responsibility. There were 7 militants who all wore suicide vests. Many of the pupils were the children of military personnel.
You've just spoken to the boys' parents. What have they said to you? How are they coping?
When Mohammed Yassin's father went to the hospital and looked at his son's body, he collapsed and he had to be hospitalized for 24 hours. People are very badly affected. The parents, they are so shocked with this that they can't speak to anybody.
Various faith groups will attend tomorrow's vigil in Leicester. They'll be united in grief and united against those who slaughtered innocent men, women and children. Rajiv Popat, ITV News.
Well, meanwhile, people held a rally for the victims of the Peshawar attack in Birmingham city centre earlier this evening. They held a noisy protest of solidarity outside the old Central Library to condemn the killings by the Pakistan Taliban. Well, those attending said the terrorist actions go completely against any religion.
What has happened in the massacre of those innocent children has got nothing to do with Islam. So we are here peacefully explaining that whether we are Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, we are against any form of terrorism, we are against any form of violence, especially with children.
Other news tonight, and police have released CCTV footage that shows the moment 2 thieves stole from a couple in Coventry. The thieves followed them after watching them withdraw £700 from a bank. One of the men distracts the husband asking for directions, while the other man lurks in the background. The footage shows him reach into the boot of the car, stealing a wallet from the wife's handbag. Police have released these photos of the 2 men they'd like to speak to in connection with the theft. They've urged others to be on their guard against similar tactics. A bus has been badly damaged after it was crushed by a tree. It was on the Hagley Road in Birmingham heading towards Wolverhampton when the tree came down. A number of passengers were on board, but West Midlands Ambulance Service says no one was hurt. The bus driver was treated for shock. It's not known what caused the tree to fall. Two Sky News journalists have been ordered to give evidence at the inquest into the death of a woman who they said had anonymously attacked the parents of Madeleine McCann on the internet. It's claimed Brenda Leyland trolled Kate and Jerry McCann on Twitter. She was found dead in a hotel room on October the 4th, 3 days after she was confronted on the doorstep of her home in Leicestershire by Sky News. Now, every year thousands of women are sent to prison and it costs about £50,000 to keep each of them there. But there is a charity that helps women turn their backs on crime for a fraction of that cost. Well, now a campaign started to convince the government that prison is not always the best answer. Mark Goff has been speaking to one woman for whom prison became a way of life.
Adela Snape has been in and out of prison. By her own admission, life was chaotic, with abusive relationships and drug addiction, which led her to rob and burgle. But after her last offence, instead of prison, she was ordered to come here, to the Anawim Centre in Balsall Heath in Birmingham. Here, psychologists, mental health experts and probation officers help women understand why they commit crime and, more importantly, how to stop.
I've been to prison 9 times, but coming here, I've achieved so much. I've progressed massively. It's changed my life coming to Anawim.
And what they do here works. Out of every 100 women they help, 1 might reoffend, whereas in prison, 60 out of 100 women might go on to reoffend. Which is why the charity Sir Optimists International is asking the government to send more women to places like this and not to prison. And it's cheaper.
If you look at what it costs to keep a woman in prison, you're talking almost $50,000 a year per place or thereabouts. If you're looking at a women's centre, you're talking under $10,000. So it's very much more effective. It's cheaper, but the results are very much better. It cuts crime.
There are lots of women in the prison system who really shouldn't be there. Community sentences are far more effective and efficient, so it's cheaper. It also means that the women are less likely to reoffend.
I want to win the argument in the public domain to say that if we believe in families, if we believe in parents' responsibility for their children, and if we believe in giving people a fresh start, then actually this is good social policy wherever you come in the spectrum. It doesn't mean to say that women who do terribly wicked things, unpressured by anybody, shouldn't be punished properly, and they will have to go inside and serve their sentence possibly for a long time like anybody else.
I have so much remorse for the things and the people that I've hurt.
For Adela, life's better. Her children, which were in care, are back home. She's volunteering at a charity and she hopes she'll be taken on full time. And she's not in prison.
I'm happy, of course. I'm happy as I've ever been in my whole life.
Mark Goff, ITV News, Birmingham.
Birmingham City Council is giving away thousands of bikes in a bid to encourage more people to cycle into the city. Today, a prototype of what the bikes will look like was put on show. The scheme, called Big Birmingham Bikes, is targeting neighbourhoods in deprived communities. Last year, the council won £17 million from the Department of Transport to improve cycling in the city. But officials say this project is not the same as London's Boris bike scheme.
We have loads of people who cycle in the city already. What we're trying to do is attract people who actually the big barrier is not being able to afford the bike. So you could be newly retired and you're actually worried about how you're going to keep fit or how you're going to get about. So fine, apply for a big bike. You could be a young person who's looking for work and finds actually getting about town is a bit expensive. Again, these are all our target people. It's about health and well-being. It's about transport. It's about, changing the way that people move about this city.
Right, let's see how the weather is shaping up as we head towards Friday. With the details, here's Janelle.
Wishing you a warm winter. Gas Central Heating from Northern Gas Heating sponsors the ITV local weather.
Hello, a cloudy and very wet night on the way, and also very mild for this time of the year. We're looking at lows of just 3 Celsius with that breeze blowing and the rain. Not the most pleasant of nights on the way, but it should all clear through for the very early hours of the morning. We should see some brightness to start the day tomorrow. As well as the brightness, what you'll notice is the winds will be lighter than today as well. So with more sunshine, lighter winds and drier weather, even though temperature highs are just 8 Celsius, it should be a pleasant day and it should feel better than today has been. But tonight, rain is on the way. Good night.
Gas Central Heating from Northern Gas Heating sponsors the ITV local weather.
And that is pretty much it from us for tonight. Just a quick reminder, there is plenty more from us on the website. As ever, the details on the screen, itv.com/central. We are back tomorrow. Until then, from the late team, it's good night. Goodbye.